What is going on, IK fam? BN, I'm back again today for another dope IK video, and I am excited because I want to talk a little bit about the new migration cap feature that we saw teased over in the Pioneer server. And this is something that I'm pretty excited to talk about because it's something that we have spoke about in our previous suggestions video. This was something we did and we covered, I want to say last month in our round one video, and a lot of the things that we talked about, which I thought personally were really just absolutely fantastic about some of the community feedback we got from others as well, and it was just something that I thought was just a great kind of collaboration and crowdsourcing of feedback and suggestions that people put together. And this is one of the things that was added into that. And now to see it come to fruition, right, or what we should say is hopefully going to come to fruition. Of course, this is all pending that this ends up hitting the live version of the game. But the hope is that it will. And just to show this off to you real quick from the Pioneer server on, again, what we showed off in the update video, but I want to expand on it a little bit more, is, right, we're now able to see that from the world heart, right, if you control this, you'll notice that there's now some additional options, right, and one of those is migration, where it says, right, king resignation will not affect above settings, but you can set the power limit for relocating to this world, right? You can do 1 mil, 1.5, 2 mil, not limited. The reason I like this, and this is briefly what I touched on in the teaser update video for whenever we're going to get some more information on it, is you can really hammer home a big standard that you can set with this. And because it does a few things. One, it helps, right? And I know, as I mentioned in the previous teaser video, I'm happy that they left the 1 mil here, right? I think 1 mil is a good threshold to leave it at. And then, right, but they added 1.52 and then no limit. So what this means, or there's two things here. One, let's talk about what it means to leave the 1 mil option up. What this means is that if you're the king, you can now protect your server against higher power players that are coming in, right, king or queen, I should say, as always with a keep things neutral, is that you're able to protect your server against any kind of rogue players or rogue groups that want to come in that are above 1 mil power. It also, on the other end, right, can lend its own kind of troublesome acts where if, let's say, your server is not unified, right, then whoever turn it is to be king, or if someone ends up going for king, then they themselves can set the power whatever they want. They can bring in whoever they want, right, and that can cause chaos, right? This happened in other kingdom builders that I played before. But the benefit is that if your server is unified, right, and you are together, and you have similar goals and policies that you're looking to build for your server, and you see eye to eye on how you want to work migration, this can be an amazing tool for you to utilize. On the other hand, if you want to just put it on no limit and you want to welcome anyone and everyone, because let's say your server's unified, maybe you guys want to, I don't know, maybe you guys want to do like some server versus server prep and you're okay with letting some big dogs come in, and then you guys are just like going to be ready to fight whomever comes in for practice. You could do it that way too. You could be like a baiting tactic, so to speak, right, however you want to view it. In addition, the other thing as well is that you can recruit people to your server, right? You can do a little bit more vetting, right? If people are interested in coming, right, you could do things where like you periodically open the cap up at certain times, or you coordinate with people that want to come, right? So if they want to come at, like, what's the time right now up here? 15:03. Like, let's say they want to come in 2 minutes at 15:05. So you open it up. They'll have 60 seconds to join, right? And then you can close it back again, right? So there's multiple ways that you can work a migration system. But the fact that they're hopefully going to convert this to the live version is a big win. I cannot stress that enough. The only thing that, and again, I'm sure I'll talk about this in our next round 2 suggestions video, and I know I talked about it in the teaser video for the update, is please, dear Buddha, add in server mail. Right, I know that's the thing I've been talking about, and this isn't to like me bugging them or anyone else, right? It's just I want to really just, as always, hammer home how important it really is to be able to message every single player on the server when you're king or queen. Is that it cannot be undervalued there is so much. Oh God, I mean, the ability to do that, especially if you want to organize and try and push quick to meet the first to start the first COR, so you can get access to King that much faster, is such an amazing feat to be able to do, because you are now able to message every single player on the server. You can let them know what's happening, and it will allow for you to have a higher percentage chance of keeping the most amount of players and retaining the most amount of players on the server as soon as you can. And right, compared to like letting things go, right? Because the example I always give people is when you start a server, you are up, for those 3 days that you're just getting every new player that downloads the game is starting there. In addition to anyone who wants to do a jumper account or start a new account there, right? You are getting 100% of that incoming traffic into your server, right? So you're starting out at 100%, and then once the 3-day finishes, that's where you're at. And then it's really only a matter of going down, because every server is going to have drop-off. That's just something that happens, right? What is going to keep players, and what is going to give you the highest chance of retaining the most amount of players is, right, being able to inform people of what's going on, right? And then hopefully not having any rogue players or any just warring PvP alliances that are just doing nothing but going around and hitting people, right? Those are probably the 2 biggest things, with the latter being probably number 1, and then being able to do server mail number 2. But they really kind of go hand in hand with each other. And that's why I say it's such a big thing. And I'm hoping that that's going to be the thing, right? That they have 2 other things that they probably haven't teased, or leaving these spaces open in hopes of that happening. But to still hammer away at migration, right? This is the thing I am really excited for. I'm happy because it shows that, right, the IK team, the dev team, right, they are taking community feedback seriously. And it doesn't mean they need to implement everything. It doesn't mean that when we give a suggestion, it's like, okay, you just need to immediately add it. No. But the fact is that they are hearing us out, right? They do care about what the community is giving for feedback, and we've seen that now with the past 2 updates. The last update, because it was more complete than only the teasing that we've been given so far for the new version 1.2 update, but still, it's a lot to look forward to. I think based on what we saw with the Easter event, improvements that they made there, along with the consistent trend of them, listening to what sounds good, what is something that we can include or add into the game that visually looks like it can work, and then from an explanation standpoint makes sense, right? Because when you're giving feedback, and I know I talk about this a lot, but when you're giving feedback to any kind of a games development team or a Q&A team or a feedback team, right, whether it's a community manager, whomever, it's always good to give your feedback and your suggestions in a way that can be understood by the development team, right? It's not enough for you to come out and be like, hey, Titan Tula sucks, fix it. No one's going to do anything with that. No one knows what that means. You have to really take time to explain, and then even more importantly, have some well-written thoughts that are organized, okay? Not you just writing a giant wall of text like you did in grade school, right? Really think out, format out what you're going to write, right? Have it be as professionally structured, well-written as it can be, and then take time to explain. And then if you can, like we've done in some of our videos, right, really show how it could work in the game visually to give a more thorough and additional explanation. Those are things that dev teams and community managers love to see, because they can do something with that. They can actually send that or forward that information to the games team without them looking like they don't know what they're talking about, because they're just forwarding you, a couple sentences that isn't going to do anything for anyone. So that's something that I always like to give out. This is kind of like a piece of advice or wisdom, if you will, to people that are new to submitting feedback and suggestions, is that there is a good way to do it. And if you don't want to do that and you think it's pointless, then my recommendation is, don't submit feedback. Right? Keep it to yourself. Right? But if you are going to submit feedback, right? And I'm not talking about you just sharing your opinion or something like that, right? But if you ever get into a situation where you are in a position where you are where you could be, or you are providing any form of feedback or suggestions, right? And you're doing it in any kind of an official capacity, right, then that's where I say take time. If you're just kind of talking amongst your friends or in like a public chat, right, and you're just kind of doing this here or there, right, that's up to you on how you want to approach it. But for me, if I'm ever going to come out and do something beyond me just, giving a few pieces of words, right, I like to try and do things in a structured way because I think that the developers in the game is going to be more receptive to that in the long run. So outside of that, again, with migration itself, I know we've kind of talked about one or two other things outside of that, but I'm really excited to see the migration because I think there's a lot of value and a lot of benefit that it's going to come in, because I know one of the worries for servers was that they just didn't know what was going to happen. You had some people in servers that were thinking, oh wow, these guys are going to be, a mil power coming in, then they raise the cap, and then people are worried that, okay, well, people that are 1.5, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 mil, they'll just sit there and they'll just wait to go into a new server, right? So now it actually, now there's kind of like this interview process that people have to go through, which is cool because this is something that you would see happen in, at least in my experience in Rise of Kingdoms, right, where it adds on this other element where now players that are real high powered have to contact kings. They have to reach out. They have to do a little bit of salesmanship, if you will, right? They have to see if the kingdom's going to be a good fit. Will they let them in, right? There's a little more of a vetting process that goes into it now, right? And that's the other part that I really love and enjoy out of playing Kingdom Builders, is because it adds in all these things and elements that you can enjoy doing inside of the game and outside of the game that affect both, which is so cool. And like I said, guys, that's pretty much it for me. I just wanted to share some thoughts on migration, some things that migration is kind of related to, and hope you guys enjoyed me just kind of talking and rambling, as usual, and just giving you my thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree on anything I touched on? If so, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And then, as always, until next time, peace!